Hello everyone, Blake Strife back at it again with another video. I really enjoyed the last challenge video where I had to beat Gen 2 with just Chikorita. So this time, let's do something a little more interesting. Today's the day we find out, can I beat Pokemon Ruby with a team of only in-game trade Pokemon? In-game trades are an interesting mechanic. They let you trade with an NPC to get Pokemon that are sometimes harder to find or just later in the game. What makes this challenge interesting, but more importantly difficult, is that Ruby and Sapphire only has 3 in-game trades, and the second one isn't until after the 5th gym. We'll get into more details as the time comes. Time for some rules. In combat, I can only use Pokemon I've gotten from in-game trades. I can use other Pokemon for HMs, but I'm not allowed to use them in battle. No cheats or exploits, don't know them anyways, and no using the items menu in battle. Only held items and items outside of battle are allowed. Also, if you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. Let's do this. So we don't actually get our first trade Pokemon until we get to Rustboro City, a Makuhita for a Slackoff. So while we walk our way over there, let's go over a little refresher about how traded Pokemon work. Pokemon that you don't catch yourself will start to disobey your commands at a certain level if you don't have the right number of gym badges. So until we get the first badge, our first traded Pokemon will start to disobey us at level 10. And to make it harder, trades also gain experience faster, so I have to be careful not to overlevel in the middle of a fight, or it might result in a loss. Anyways, we catch our Slackoff and trade it for a Makuhita named Makit. Makit? Makit? Wow, I thought I had trouble coming up with names. Its nature is hardy, which means it's neutral stats. I can work with that. Plus it's fighting type, so hopefully the first gym won't be that much trouble. When I do get to the gym, I'm already at level 11, so Makit is already disobeying us. First up is Geodude, and Makit doesn't attack on the first turn while it gets hit with a tackle that does more damage than I expected. It uses tackle instead of arm thrust, doing hardly any damage to Geodude. A couple more turns of disobeying and Makit went down easily. Didn't think it was going to be that bad. Second try and Geodude sets up a defense curl while Makit still doesn't follow orders and uses focus energy instead of arm thrust, but that can actually help me. Makit gets hurt by tackle and finally uses arm thrust to drop Geodude down to low health thanks to a crit. Roxanne uses a potion to heal up as I hit another arm thrust, which brings her back to half health. She uses another potion as Makit disobeys and uses 2 focus energies, letting Geodude tank up with 2 defense curls. Eventually, Makit finally obeys and arm thrust crits twice in the same turn, taking her down. Thank goodness for that. Next was Nosepass. It starts out using Rock Throw for some decent damage as Makit doesn't attack. The next 5 turns, Makit doesn't listen to me as he uses Sand Attack while Nosepass increases its defense with Harden. The next turn, Rock Throw misses, and Makit finally uses Arm Thrust to bring her to half health just for it to ignore my orders for 2 more turns as Nosepass hits more Rock Throws to bring me down to 2 health. But Makit listens just enough to hit 1 more Arm Thrust to finally win the match. My god, that fight was awful. After getting the Stone Badge, I head to the cave in Dewford to give the letter to Steven and... Wait, why did it... Oh... I guess I read this chart wrong. Makit won't listen to me until I get the second gym match. Whoops. That means I still have to work with these shenanigans until I can beat Brawly. Great. At level 17, I give it a try and yeah, I stand no chance. I need to grind. Grinding with a Pokemon that just won't listen to you 90% of the time is really frustrating. I mean, look at this battle with a Wild Air on. I could easily beat it with 1 move, but Makit just won't listen. Needless to say, this took forever. I fell into a groove and leveled up just enough for Makit to evolve into a Hariyama, so now it has much more bulk and attack, so hopefully it won't go down as easy. Now with the second badge, Makit will listen to me until level 30, so now I have a bit more breathing room. But I just can't face every trainer, because eventually I will overlevel, plus it'll take away a bit of the challenge. The next rival battle against May was a total sweep, and the electric gym went the same way, so it's on to Maxie. Sadly, I'm not very good when it comes to dodging trainers, so I reached level 30 way before I got there. But hey, this saves some time for future grinding. Maxi time. Mighty Anna is first, and because of Intimidate, my attack is lowered for the entire fight. I hit it with Arm Thrust for massive damage as he hits me with Sand Attack. Next turn, Makit disobeys and uses Smelling Salts, but it misses as Mighty Anna uses another Sand Attack, lowering my accuracy even more. My next 3 turns miss as he hits me with some weak bites, but Vital Throw can't miss, so he goes down. Golbat is next and I go for Vital Throw, but it does almost nothing while he uses Wing Attack that does massive damage. I keep missing for 2 turns and I eventually go down. I've tried this battle for over an hour, but I just kept going down to Golbat. He's just too fast and because of his typing, he 4 times resists my best moves, so I decided to grind. At level 36, I try again and replace Smelling Salt with Strength for more power. Mighty Anna's first and hits some weak bites, but it goes down to a couple of arm thrusts. Golbat is next and goes for Supersonic, but it misses as I hit Strength for half its health. It lands a wing attack for some good health, but another Strength and it goes down. Last is Camera, and Maquette disobeys and uses Vital Throw for big damage as he retaliates with a level 10 magnitude for a huge chunk of damage. I try to finish it off, but Maxie uses a Super Potion as Maquette doesn't attack. But next turn, I go for Strength as it crits for a one-shot. That was amazing. Now I can finally challenge Flannery's gym so I can get the 4th badge. I'm starting to get tired of using the wrong moves. The battle starts out great as I got lucky and one-shot her first 2 Slugmas, but Torkoal is a different story. I start with Arm Thrust for a third of its health, but then she uses Attract. And if you watched my last challenge, you know that this is very bad. Next turn I use Strength for big damage as she uses Body Slam. Unfortunately, Flannery uses a Hyper Potion next turn as I couldn't attack for the next 2 turns because of love. Torkoal uses Body Slam that results in paralysis, so now I'm slower. It uses Overheat for big damage as I land a Strength for half its health, but because of bad attraction luck, I missed my next move as Torkoal finished me off with another Body Slam and Overheat. My attacks do good damage, so I just keep trying. When I get to Torkoal again, Maquette doesn't attack as she hits me with an Overheat for a third of my health. Maquette uses Arm Thrust that deals half of her health and damage as she uses Body Slam that paralyzes me again. She goes first next turn and hits another slam as Maquette manages to hit a critical Vital Throw that takes her down. Whew, that was good. Now that I have the Heat badge, this traded Pokemon will now listen to me until level 50, which means I don't have to worry too much about levels for a while. Plus, I just have to beat one more gym to get our next party member. At least, that's what I thought. Time to fight our dear old dad. But Maquette is fighting type, so I had the advantage against this Pokemon, especially Slacking as it likes to be a sloth every other turn. Truant is an awful ability. Now that we have access to Surf, we can now go to the east side of the map and head to Fort Tree City, our next trade. It's a good note to point out that Maquette is really strong right now, so I just breeze until the flying gym. After giant hand slapping and throwing our way through the Weather Institute and our rival battle, I head to the Safari Zone to catch our next Pokemon for trading, a Pikachu and an Oddish. Before I challenge the gym, I trade that Pikachu I just caught for a Skidding named Skitit. Its ability is Cute Charm, so any moves that make contact will have a 30% chance of infatuating the opponent, and it has Timid Nature, so more speed and less attack. Its stats aren't that great even when it evolves into a Delcatty, but she can learn some great TMs like Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, so she'll serve as my Swiss Army knife of cuteness on my team. After a bit of grinding, I took a shot at Winona. Swellow starts out the match with a critical aerial ace that brings me to half health as I go for Thunderbolt, dealing more than half of its health. She goes for Double Team trying to avoid my attack, but still went down to my next move. Pelipper is 4 times weak to Thunderbolt, so 1 was all it took, but I switched out to Maquette for Skarmory. She goes for Sand Attack to lower my accuracy, but joke's on her since Vital Throw can't miss, so I deal big damage. Skarmory goes for Aerial Ace for some big damage as I go for another Vital Throw that takes it down. I switch back to Skitit for Altaria. She survives the Dragon Breath as her Ice Beam hits for big damage, but goes down next turn to an Earthquake. Maquette tags back in and survives the Aerial Ace to finish the match with a Strength. With the Feather Badge obtained, the traded Pokemon will now listen to me until level 70, so now the worrying of over-leveling is pretty much gone. This is also the point of the game where the plot starts to get in the way, so let's go destroy some grunts. While Maxie steals the blue orb from an old couple and the submarine from the opposite side of the region just a few seconds later, we decide to trash his home base. You know, for fun. He still gets away though, so let's focus on more important things. We surf all the way to Pacific Logtown to get our final member for our team, the Corsola named Coroso. Its ability is Natural Cure, so any status effects will go away when it switches out. It's also Calm Nature, so more special defense and less attack. Its stats and typing are not great, but it can learn some water moves like Surf, so it'll have some uses. I grind a bit more and challenge the Psychic type gym. This time it's a double battle against a Lunatone and Solrock, so I send out Maquette and Coroso. I used Fake Out on Solrock thinking it was the biggest threat, but Lunatone uses Hypnosis against Coroso, so it couldn't attack. Next turn, Solrock takes in some sunlight as Lunatone hits a powerful Psychic for half my health as I hit 5 Arm Thrusts on Solrock for good damage. I switched Coroso out for Skitit hoping he could take a hit, but it got hit by both Solar Beam and Psychic and went down pretty fast. Coroso comes out again, fully awake as Solrock falls a Vital Throw. Lunatone uses Psychic on Maquette for so much damage but a tag team of Arm Thrust and Surf later, and I win the 7th badge. We now go to the Seafloor Cavern to teach Maxie a lesson of not trying to end the world by sunlight. First up is Maquette against Mighty Anna. I go for Fake Out to deal little damage as he hits me with Swagger, raising my attack, but confusing me in the process as I hit myself. Mariana uses takedown for little damage as Makit lands a powered up arm thrust to take it down. I switch out to Skatit as Maxie summons Crobat. He outspeeds me and uses wing attack as she lands a critical thunderbolt, nearly taking him out. The next 2 turns are spent by Maxie and uses super potions on Crobat to heal up as I keep using Thunderbolt. Maxie eventually runs out of healing items, so Crobat lands one more wing attack before fainting to Thunderbolt. I sent out Caroso for camera, hoping to take it out with Surf, but it outspeeds me and takes me out with 1 Earthquake. Makit is back and flinches Camera with Fake Out and starts using Arm Thrust, leaving him with 1/3 of health as he uses Amnesia for some reason. I don't even have a special move. Camera uses Earthquake, almost taking me out, but Makit survives and wins with 1 more Vital Throw. Being a sore loser, Maxie throws a tantrum by releasing Groudon into the world, so now we have to take care of that. All done. Now on to the Water Gym to fight Wallace. First up is Luvdix, so I have Caroso use Ancient Power for 1/3 of its health as he goes for Water Pulse. I go for a second one, but Wallace switches out to Whiscash, so it barely hurts him. I go for Surf, but he's faster and sets up Amnesia, raising his special defense, so it doesn't do very much. Now, Wallace used that correctly. I forgot he had Earthquake, so Caroso's health goes down to only 3 as I hit a weak Spike Cannon, so she goes down to Water Pulse. I have Makit tag back in and start with a Fake Out. Whiscash is somehow faster, so he hits me with Earthquake as I try to finish it with Strength, but it hangs on with red health. I use another Strength to finish it, but Wallace uses a Hyper Potion to heal up. I had Makit use Arm Thrust, trying to get it in damage range, but to my surprise, it hits 5 times and crits, so Whiscash goes down. I switch to Skatit for Luvdix as she misses Sweet Kiss as I take it down with Thunderbolt. Probably should have started the fight that way. Celio is next, and it's Ice type, so I switch back to Makit. I cheap shot it with Fake Out and start using Arm Thrust, which almost takes it out, but Celio gets a Water Pulse in as 1 more Arm Thrust finishes him. Seaking is next, so I switch back to Skatit for a couple of Thunderbolts. I have her use Return for the win, but Wallace uses another Hyper Potion to heal him up. My second return crits and takes him out. Last is his ace Pokemon, Milotic, and it's really tanky, as even after Skatit's critical Thunderbolt, it still doesn't do much damage. Rain is still up, so 1 Water Pulse takes a huge chunk of health and confuses Skatit. She lands another hit, but with just 1 Ice Beam, she faints. I have Makit use Fake Out for safety as I go for the finishing blow, but Milotic is faster and his Ice Beam critically hits, so I lose. I can't believe that happened. Next try, I come back with a vengeance when I get to Milotic. Caroso still had some health left, so she put up a good fight, surviving 2 Water Pulses as she gets some Ancient Powers in, but eventually she goes down. Makit the Avenger's out again, using Fake Out for free damage, surviving an Ice Beam, and gets the win with a Vital Throw. Take that, you beautiful sea snake! Now I have all the Hoenn badges, so we are in the home stretch to beat the game. But first we have one last rival battle against Wally before we challenge the lead. Honestly, I forgot he was even in the game. Altaria is out first, so I have Skatit use Ice Beam and it gets frozen. Wally uses Super Potion to heal, but Skatit lands a critical return taking her out. That luck was pretty unreal. Delcatty is out next, but 1 Fake Out and Arm Thrust from Makit and it just goes down easy. Skatit is back out for Gardevoir as she starts building evasion with Double Team. My first move missed, but Skatit lands a Shadow Ball for good damage. Gardevoir uses Psychic, almost taking me out, but my next Shadow Ball was also a critical hit, so it faints. I keep Skatit out for Roselia and hit an Ice Beam before going down to a Giga Drain. Makit is back out and finishes Roselia with a Strength, and next is Magneton. It takes the Thunderbolt, so just 4 hits from Arm Thrust wins me the match. With that out of the way, we can finally challenge the Elite Four, but my team needs just a bit more levels because there's no way I can make it all the way to Steven. Here's our stats at level 55. They're okay, but each one of them has a certain weakness against one of the Elite Four's Pokemon. But as always, I like to charge in and hope for the best, so let's do this. First up is Dark Trainer Sydney. Mightyena starts out with Sand Attack, but I have Makit use Vital Throw to leave him in a sliver of health. A full restore later, Makit leaves Mightyena at the same point as he takes himself out with a recoil from Takedown. Shiftry is next and gets hit with Vital Throw as he uses Swagger to make Makit hit himself next turn. After an extra sensory doing big damage, Makit lands his Strength to take him down. Absol tries to set up, but he goes down to a single hit as Cacturne comes out next. He tries to finish me off with Needle Arm, but Makit hangs on and beats him with 1 Vital Throw. Last is Torpedo, so I switch to Skatit. He survives the Thunderbolt and uses Swagger, but even after a full restore, Skatit doesn't get hurt from confusion and lands enough Thunderbolts to get the win. Next is Ghost Trainer Phoebe. Skatit starts out with a Shadow Ball against Dusclops as it uses Curse. I go for Thunderbolt to finish it, but Phoebe uses a full restore. Dusclops uses Future Sight for later as 2 more Shadow Balls takes it down. Skatit's health is looking very bad. Caroso is out next against Banette. She hits with a Psychic as I go for Surf for decent damage. Banette uses Spike to lower some of Surf's power points as a critical Ancient Power ends her. Second Dust Clubs us out, and this one is more offensive as after a Shadow Ball it uses Earthquake but Skatit hangs on. Another Shadow Ball hits and lowers her special defense as she goes down. Makeet is out last, so I use his newly learned Earthquake, but Dust Club survives and hits a Shadow Ball. One more hit and it goes down. Next is her Sableye. I'm faster, so I use an Earthquake for half her health, but she uses Attract, so next turn I couldn't attack as she lands a Psychic. One more Earthquake and she's done. Last is her second Banette, so I switch back to Caroso. She gets poisoned with Toxic and goes for Shadow Ball, but 2 critical serves win the match. Now for Ice Trainer Glacia. Her first Glalie and Celia were each a one-shot with Vital Throw, so I sent Skatit out for Celia number 2. Her Thunderbolts do big damage and manage to paralyze it, but she gets hit with a strong Blizzard. After a full restore, we repeat the same exchange and Skatit falls, so I sent Makeet out to finish the job with Strength. Her second Glalie goes down to 1 hit, but next is her ace Walrein, and she's a beast. We each trade hits for big damage, but Walrein eats a berry and is faster, so she takes down Makeet with Blizzard. Caroso is out last, and it looks bad, but I have an idea. She hits me with a strong serve, so I use Spike Cannon to get her health down to a point where she can't use an item. It works, as Caroso survives another hit with only 2 health, as I finish it with an Ancient Power. If that looked close, it's because this fight took me 5 tries. Next is Dragon Trainer Dre, but to save some time, I lose in the span of 5 minutes. I managed to get the Salamence, but I don't even land a single hit on it as it swept my entire team with Dragon Claw. Compared to how close the previous battle was, this was inevitable, so I decided to grind a bit more. Back with a couple more levels and I had this run. I have Makeet hit Shelgon with 2 Earthquakes as he hits me with Rock Team, lowering my speed. Drake uses a full restore to heal up, so I start using Strength. It tries to stall with Protect, but enough strengths take it out. Skatit one-shots Flygon with a critical Ice Beam, so next is Altaria. Ice Beam leaves it with red health, but she paralyzes me with Dragon Breath, so now I'm slower. She hits me with another one before she goes down to a Thunderbolt. His second Flygon is next, and Skatit goes down only because it was too button happy and used a Thunderbolt, so it did no damage. What a wasted opportunity. Makeet survives 2 Dragon Breaths, so a couple of reversals take it out. Salamence is back and finishes Makeet with a single Dragon Claw. Things look bad as Caroso comes out, but this time I came prepared. Caroso has Magic Coat, which is basically counter for special moves, and since Dragon is special in this generation, he basically takes himself out by using Dragon Claw, so take that, jerk! I had some rare candies left, so I used them on the team along with some Max Ethers to prepare for the final battle. Now we face Steven, the Pokemon champion. Skarmory is first, so I have Delcat use Thunderbolt for half its health as he sets some spikes down. One more finishes it. Armaldo is next, so I send out Caroso and hit a strong serve while he hits an Ancient Power. She survives another hit, so another serve takes him down. Aggron comes out next, but he can't survive a single Vital Throw, so he sends out his ace Pokemon, Metagross. This was the moment I was jumping for joy, because not only did Makeet's Quick Claw kick in, but Earthquake resulted in a one-shot because of a critical hit. I was so certain that Metagross would have been a huge threat if I didn't take it out. Battle's not over yet, as Caroso goes down to an Earthquake by Claydol, so I send out Skatit. I use Ice Beam for good damage as Claydol uses Earthquake that brings me below half health. To avoid Steven using another full restore, I have Skatit use Shadow Ball instead while Claydol wastes a turn setting up a Reflect, so one more Ice Beam finishes it. Last is Credilli, so I keep Skatit out and keep hitting Ice Beams for good damage as she goes down to a Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb. I got so scared when Credilli confuses Makeet, but like a champ, he powers through and hits one more Vital Throw to defeat the champion and win the game. Gotta say, I didn't think I was gonna beat Steven at that low of a level. I thought I would have to grind out to at least level 70 to have a better chance against his Metagross, since they kept wrecking my team for over an hour. These challenge videos are really fun to make, so let's keep this creative train going as I work on my next one, Pokemon Platinum with a team of only one Pachirisu. If you enjoy this series, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel for more. Also, if you have a challenge in mind, please let me know in the comment section below. Okay, always use your ideas. This is Blake Stray signing off for today, so until next time, stay awesome.